Well, organic operation or not, all these animals, they need water, don't they?
Absolutely.
They need good, fresh water.
You
And
bet.
actually, that's probably one of the hardest things. If you've had this many pastures, you've got to have a lot of access to water.
Yes. Yeah. Water's your key. Water is your key to grazing. The more water you have in strategic locations, the better your grazing will be. You've seen, and everybody has seen, cows are habitual walkers. They'll create paths, and the more water you have, the less paths you have, and the less erosion you'll have from those paths.
Now, this is one of what, 20 tanks, that's on the property?
20 tanks.
These all get filled. You pump water up from the pond
From the lake,
that we see behind us, okay?
Yes.
And that's well fed. That's
Yes.
fed by a well. So you have plenty of water on the property. That pond is not going to go dry anytime soon.
No.
Your trick, I guess, was how do you lay all this pipe to all these tanks?
You trench it all in, 4 feet in the ground. Not by hand, but with a trencher.
How many feet of pipe do you
There's
think
a little over 17,000 feet of water line here.
Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness! Are you finished?
I'm done.
Yeah.
And I started in about 2004, and did it all myself with the help of just a few individuals that taught me how to run a trencher. And it was an educational experience. I made several mistakes, and I changed my strategy somewhat, and everything kind of literally fell into place.
Now, Ron, you're proud of the fact that your ranch is not a work-intensive ranch. You let nature do a lot of the work, and
Yes.
you're proud of that.
Yes.
So what do you do all day long when your cattle are sort of taking care of themselves? If you're not moving them around, what do you do?
I'm out cutting basically invasive species, hedge, thorny locusts, thistles. We try to keep ahead of them because if we don't, they'll overtake our pastures. That's basically, and then there's just a lot of infrastructure maintenance that has to be done. Sometimes the float bulbs in the tank will break, or a cow for some reason will jump in and break a valve. So you're going to spend probably an hour or two putting a new valve in. There's just all kinds of infrastructure work that you can do.
And the invasive species you were talking about, you can't go out there with some Weed Be Gone and spray that stuff, because that's not what you do.
No,
you're organic, so you really have to dig it up or somehow destroy it by hand.
Yes. We have to dig it by hand or cut it, and then hopefully it won't regrow. But if it does, you have to do it over again. But that's the best way for us, being organic, and it really doesn't have a thing to do with the organic regulations. We don't want pesticides and herbicides to interfere with the balance that we've established here.
Ron, if you're going to have cows in a field for 12 hours, that means you got to move them from pasture to pasture a lot.
Yes.
And I would have thought that's a lot of work. How do you do it?
No, the logistics are basically easy. All I do is bring the four-wheeler up into a new pasture and give them a call, something like this. Whoop, whoop, whoop. And as you can see,
they just flow out of there. They just flow out of there. And look at these little calves, aren't they something? Look at them coming in. Okay, so they all stop for a drink before they come in here. But they must have been hungry for what's in this pasture too.
Sure, they exhausted the forbs that's out there, the grasses, the glooms that's out there, and they come in and they'll graze on the exact grasses and legumes in this pasture.
And that's good for you, isn't it? Because a lot of grass is left there that needs to grow up, and the other stuff is going to come in and fill in behind it, huh?
Yes. And like we said before, they won't go back in there for 45 days.
You won't let them go back in there for 45 days.
No, absolutely not.
In the meantime, they'll go from this pasture into a number of other pastures that are in different stages of development.
Yes.
And these little guys, now some of these little calves here, look at them bouncing around. Some of them you say are only a day old.
Yeah.
Wow.
They respond to milk rather rapidly. Now there's one you can see that has eluded my tagging.
Yeah, the little blonde one right in front of us. Yeah. You'll have to get him tagged. Huh?
Yes.
Let me ask you about the tag. What the calves all have, and the mothers all have ear tags. What's the purpose of that?
For identification and paper trail, the calf's tag is identical to the mother's tag, and that will follow that calf through its entire life, even to post slaughter or post sale. So anybody that buys a piece of meat off of us or a calf off of us knows exactly where it came from, the day it was born, and its mother.